You feel it, don't you? That slow, invisible pressure behind your ribs, like something is feeding on your energy while you smile and call it normal. And what I am about to tell you, most people will never hear this. This is not your fault. But let me be coldly honest with you. The enemy is not the person who shouts at you. The enemy is the quiet one who makes you doubt your own memory. The psychology of manipulation works like rust. You never see it forming until the metal has already been destroyed. You wake up exhausted. You apologize for things you didn't do. You have started planning your words before every conversation. And here is the question you are too afraid to ask yourself. What if you have already been living inside someone else's script for years without ever knowing it? You have heard the name Friedrich Nietzsche, but what Nietzsche actually understood, that your school never taught you, was this: I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I cannot believe you. That is the hidden wound. The liar doesn't just steal the truth. The liar steals your ability to trust your own perception. And once that is gone, you become hollow, ready to be filled by anyone with a strong voice and no conscience. What Nietzsche knew, that your school never taught you, is that manipulation is not about controlling your actions. It is about rewriting your reality from the inside out. Now let me show you the 7 signs that you are already inside the cage, and you didn't even hear the door close. Sign 1. You justify their behavior more than they do. When someone asks why they treat you badly, you immediately have 5 excuses ready. They are stressed. They had a hard childhood. They don't mean it. Real scenario. Your friend constantly cancels plans last minute, and you tell yourself they are just busy. But when someone else cancels on them, you watch them explode with rage. The psychology behind it is called cognitive dissonance. Your brain cannot hold both "they love me" and "they hurt me" at the same time, so it erases the hurt to protect the love. What to do now? The next time you catch yourself defending them, stop mid-sentence. Say nothing. Let the silence hold the truth. Write this down. Your excuses are the walls of your own prison. Sign 2. Your victories feel smaller and their problems feel larger. You got a promotion. Within minutes, they mention their headache, their financial trouble, their betrayal from 3 years ago. And suddenly, you feel guilty for being happy. Real scenario. You achieved something you worked for all year. But when you shared it, the conversation somehow ended with you comforting them. This is not coincidence. This is strategic emotional redirection. The psychology behind it is called narcissistic injury. Your success wounds them, so they must immediately create a crisis that places them back at the center of your attention. What to do now? The next time they hijack your moment, do not offer comfort. Simply say, "I hear you, and right now I am going to celebrate my win." Then walk away. Stay with me. It gets darker. Sign 3. You have started lying to other people about what is really happening. Your partner snaps at you in public. Later, your friend asks if everything is okay, and you say, "They are just tired." But here is what nobody tells you. The moment you protect the person who hurts you from the judgment of others, you have officially become their co-conspirator against yourself. Real scenario. Your parent, your partner, your boss does something destructive, and you find yourself editing the story before it leaves your mouth. The psychology behind it is called trauma bonding. Intermittent reward and punishment create an addiction, stronger than any drug. You lie to protect the relationship, but you are actually protecting your access to the next hit of their approval. What to do now? For 1 week, tell the truth to one trusted person. No editing, no softening. Watch how their face changes when they finally see what you have been hiding. Sign 4. You check your phone constantly for their message, even when you are angry at them, especially when you are angry at them. Real scenario. You had a fight. You told yourself you don't care, but you have checked your phone 40 times in the last 2 hours. Drop this in the comments. I have checked my phone for someone who drained me. The psychology behind it is called intermittent reinforcement. A slot machine does not pay every time, and that unpredictability is exactly what locks you in. When they sometimes love you and sometimes ignore you, your brain enters a permanent state of anticipation. That is not love. That is neurological captivity. What to do now? Turn off their notifications completely. Not mute, not archive, off. For 72 hours, your anxiety will spike. That is the withdrawal. That is how you know it was never real. Sign 5. You have lost the ability to make small decisions without their input. What to eat, what to wear, when to sleep. You run every choice past them because you have learned that your own decisions are always wrong. Real scenario, you are alone in the grocery store and you freeze in front of the pasta aisle because you cannot remember what brand they approve of. The psychology behind it is called learned helplessness. After enough punishment for making your own choices, your brain stops trying. It is not stupidity, it is survival. What to do now? Make one decision today, without asking anyone. Buy the wrong brand on purpose. Eat it. Nothing bad will happen. That feeling of fear is the ghost of their control. Let it watch you disobey. This is exactly what Robert Greene called the law of dependency. He understood that the most powerful chains are the ones you never feel. Dependency does not look like a prisoner in a cell. Dependency looks like a man who no longer remembers he has hands to break the lock. You do not need their permission to exist. You never did. Sign 6. You apologize for things that happened in your dreams. Literally. Or you apologize for their bad moods, for the weather, for a text you didn't send fast enough. Your mouth has become a machine that produces sorry. Real scenario, they woke up irritable, and within 10 minutes, you have apologized 3 times for nothing. The psychology behind it is called operant conditioning. Every time you apologize, the tension drops. You mistake the relief of their silence for peace. But peace does not require your self-destruction. What to do now? Go 24 hours without saying sorry for anything, unless you actually caused harm. Watch how many times your hand reaches for the word. Do not grab it. Let the discomfort burn. Sign 7. You cannot remember who you were before them. Your hobbies are gone. Your friends are distant. Your opinions feel borrowed. Real scenario. Someone asks what music you like, and you realize you only listen to what they tolerate. Drop this in the comments. I gave myself away. One small piece at a time. The psychology behind it is called identity erosion. Slow, surgical, invisible. They do not need to forbid you from seeing your friends. They just make every plan so exhausting that you stop reaching out. What to do now? Do one thing this week that they hate. Nothing destructive, just something they would disapprove of. Listen to that music. Go to that place. Sit alone and remember the person you buried. The old you is dead. That is not a tragedy. That is an opportunity. Because the old you was the one who tolerated the chains. The old you apologized for existing. The old you checked the phone. The old you is dead. You are a weapon, pointed at your own future. And the only question that matters now is this. Will you pull the trigger on that old self? Or will you keep carrying the corpse around, like a punishment? You belong to no one. You never did. You only forgot. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. You have been living in fog. Now you see the hand on the controls. And it has been yours, the entire time. Subscribe, but only if you are ready for what comes next. Because once you see the game, you cannot unsee it. And the people who played you, they will feel the shift before you even speak a word. One question remains, and the answer will determine everything. If you stripped away every compromise you have ever made for approval, who would be standing in the room when the smoke cleared?